I heard a gunshot in my lecture hall. My brother Jake said, "It was just a prank. A classmate died because of it." Then Mom called with a devastating secret. "I'm Emma, a sophomore at the University of Colorado. It was a crisp fall morning, and I was in my engineering lecture. The professor was droning on about circuits when a deafening boom echoed outside. It sounded like a shotgun. My heart stopped. Everyone froze for a split second before chaos erupted. Students screamed, chairs scraped, and I dove under my desk. My pulse pounded in my ears. I could barely breathe. The room was a blur of panic. 5 or 6 students scrambled toward a metal cabinet at the front, desperate to hide. They shoved and pushed, squeezing behind it. But one kid, Liam, didn't make it. He was small, frail, the kind of guy who always seemed to fade into the background. The others pushed him out. He stumbled, alone in the open, his eyes wide with terror. He tried crawling under the professor's desk, but the professor snapped, "There's only room for me," and shoved him away. I couldn't believe it. Liam just stood there, frozen, clutching his chest. For 20 agonizing seconds, he didn't move. Then he collapsed, gasping, his face pale. I realized he was having a heart attack. Fear had gripped him too tightly. Nobody moved to help. We were all too scared, too selfish, hiding under desks, praying the shooter wouldn't find us. I watched Liam's body go still, his shallow breaths fading. My stomach churned. I felt like a coward, crouched there, doing nothing. The air felt thick, like the walls were closing in. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold on to the desk leg. Outside, the sound of chaos grew louder. More shouts, footsteps running. I kept thinking, what if the shooter comes in here next? My mind raced, picturing the worst. I could hear classmates whispering prayers, some sobbing quietly. Every second felt like an eternity. I pressed myself lower, trying to disappear into the floor. My chest tightened, and I fought to keep my breathing steady. All I could think was, stay quiet, stay still, survive. But Liam's lifeless body was right there, a few feet away. I couldn't unsee it. His death was real, and we were all trapped in this nightmare. I was still shaking under the desk when my phone buzzed in my pocket. It wouldn't stop. The whole room was alive with the same frantic vibrations. Everyone's phones were going off, a chorus of fear. I pulled mine out, hands trembling, and glanced at the screen. A flood of notifications stared back at me. My roommate, Sarah, texted first. "Emma, are you okay? They're saying there's a shooter on campus." My stomach dropped. Another message from a classmate I barely knew said, "Stay inside. Lock the doors." Then, my mom's text hit me like a punch. "Please, Emma, tell me you're safe. There's a shooter at your school. I'm terrified. Call me." My heart raced faster. She said the shooter was near the engineering building. That's where I was. I looked around. Faces were pale, eyes glued to phones. Some were texting furiously. Others just sat there, frozen. I could hear soft sobs, whispered prayers. I typed a quick reply to Mom. "I'm okay. Hiding. We'll call soon." My fingers fumbled on the screen. I could barely think straight. All I could see was Liam's body, still on the floor, his lifeless eyes staring at nothing. Guilt clawed at me. Why didn't I help him? Then I thought of Jake, my older brother. He's a junior at Colorado too. Was he safe? I shot him a text. "Jake, you okay? Where are you?" Waiting for his reply felt like forever. Every second stretched, my chest tight with dread. Finally, his text came through. "I'm fine. Locked down in the library. You safe?" Relief washed over me, but it didn't last. I texted back, "Yeah, in class. It's bad, Jake." I couldn't tell him about Liam. Not yet. Minutes dragged on, feeling like hours. Then, sirens wailed outside. Heavy footsteps echoed in the halls. I held my breath, gripping the desk. Police shouts filled the air. "Clear! Clear!" They burst into our classroom, guns drawn. My heart pounded, but their words brought a flicker of hope. "It's safe. You can come out." I crawled out, legs wobbly, like they might give out. The room was silent except for sniffles. Liam's body was still there, covered now by a jacket someone had laid over him. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. We shuffled into the hallway. It was chaos. Students everywhere, some crying, others staring blankly. Police were herding us outside. I overheard an officer talking. No shooter. It was a false alarm. A campus security guard had fired his gun by accident, responding to a fake report, but it didn't matter. Liam was dead. The campus was in shock. I felt hollow, like part of me had died with him. I kept thinking about Jake. I needed to know he was really okay. But deep down, something felt off. I couldn't shake the image of Liam, or the fear that this wasn't over. That night, I couldn't stay in my dorm. Liam's face haunted me, his lifeless body etched in my mind. I needed Jake. He was my anchor, always had been. I drove to his apartment off campus, my hands still shaky on the wheel. The streets of Boulder were quiet, but my heart was pounding. I just wanted to see him, to know he was okay. But when I got there, something felt wrong. Jake opened the door, and I expected red eyes, maybe tears. We'd just been through hell, but he was calm, too calm. His face was blank, like nothing had happened. "You okay, Emma?" he asked, voice steady. I nodded, but I wasn't. I followed him inside. His apartment was a wreck. Empty coffee cups littered the table, papers strewn across the floor. Jake was always tidy, almost obsessive about it. This wasn't like him. I asked, "You holding up?" He shrugged. "Yeah, I'm fine." That was it. No fear, no shock, just nothing. I sat on his couch trying to talk about the day, about Liam, about the chaos. But every time I brought it up, Jake deflected. "It's over, Emma. Let's not dwell on it," he said, flipping through his phone. I pressed harder, asking if he'd seen anything weird on campus. He snapped, "Can we drop it?" His tone stung. Jake and I were close. We shared everything. Why was he shutting me out? Over the next few days, it got worse. Jake started acting secretive. He'd step out to take phone calls, keeping his voice low. When I asked who it was, he'd brush it off. "Just a friend," he'd say, avoiding my eyes. He stopped going to the engineering building, even though he had classes there. I'd see him take long routes to avoid it. Once, I caught him glancing over his shoulder, like he was worried someone was watching. My gut twisted. Something was off. I tried to shake it. Maybe he was just processing the trauma differently, but it didn't add up. Jake was the guy who'd stay up all night helping me with math homework, who'd stand up to bullies for me in high school. He was solid, dependable. This Jake, he was a stranger. I couldn't let it go. One night, I went back to his place. He was on the phone in his room, door cracked. I crept closer, heart racing. I knew it was wrong, but I had to know. His voice was low, tense. I caught fragments. It wasn't supposed to, he said. My breath caught. Wasn't supposed to what? I leaned in, straining to hear. We didn't know it'd go that far, he whispered. My blood ran cold. I backed away, my mind spinning. What was he talking about? The shooting? Liam? I sank onto the couch, pretending to watch TV when he came out. He looked at me, eyes narrowing. You okay, Emma? He asked, like he could sense I'd heard something. I forced a smile. Yeah, just tired. But inside, I was screaming. My brother was hiding something big, and I was terrified to find out what. Those 3 words Jake said, "It wasn't supposed to," echoed in my head. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Liam's body, his terrified face, and Jake's voice, low and secretive, kept replaying. What did he mean? My stomach churned. I needed answers. I couldn't just sit there pretending everything was fine. Jake was my brother, but he was hiding something bad. The next day, I started digging. I asked around campus, carefully, not wanting to raise suspicion. I talked to Sarah, my roommate, who knew some of Jake's friends. She mentioned a group he'd been hanging out with lately. They're kind of wild, she said, frowning, always pulling crazy stunts. My heart sank. I pressed her for details. She hesitated, then told me about a guy named Ethan, a senior known for extreme pranks, dangerous ones, like setting off fire alarms during finals or faking emergencies to mess with people. Jake was tight with him now. I felt sick. I kept my distance from Jake, watching him. He was jumpier, always checking his phone, glancing around like he was paranoid. One afternoon, I saw him with Ethan near the student union. They were arguing, heads close, voices low. Ethan looked angry, jabbing a finger at Jake. I couldn't hear them, but their body language screamed trouble. My gut told me this was connected to the shooting, to Liam. That night, I went back to Jake's apartment. I couldn't confront him yet. I needed proof. He wasn't home, so I let myself in with the spare key he'd given me. The place was still a mess, worse than before. Papers, energy drink cans, a half-eaten pizza on the counter. I snooped, hating myself for it. In his room, I found a notebook under a pile of clothes. My hands shook as I opened it. Scribbled notes, dates, plans. One page caught my eye. Oct 15. Fake alert. Eng building. Chaos. My breath hitched. October 15th was the day of the shooting. The day Liam died. I kept reading, my heart pounding. The notes mentioned Ethan and 2 other guys. They'd planned to fake a campus alert. Something to shake things up. No guns, just a staged panic. But something went wrong. A security guard fired his weapon, thinking it was real. My mind raced. Jake was part of this? My brother, the guy who'd always been my hero, planned a prank that killed someone? I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I heard the front door open. I shoved the notebook back, my hands trembling. Jake walked in, stopping when he saw me. Emma, what are you doing here? His voice was sharp, suspicious. I forced a smile, my heart hammering. Just checking on you. I lied. He didn't buy it. His eyes narrowed, scanning the room like he knew I'd been digging. I left quickly, my mind a mess. I couldn't unsee those notes. Jake wasn't just acting weird. He was involved. Back at my dorm, I sat on my bed, staring at the wall. The pieces were falling together and I hated it. Jake's secrecy, his new friends, that notebook, it all pointed to one thing. The shooting wasn't just a mistake. It was a prank gone wrong, and Jake helped plan it. My brother, who I'd always trusted, was part of something that got Liam killed. I felt betrayed, like the ground had been ripped out from under me. I wanted to scream, to confront him, but I was terrified. What if he lied again? What if he was in too deep? I didn't know what to do, but I couldn't let this go. Liam's death deserved answers. I had to keep digging, even if it broke my heart. I couldn't stop shaking after finding Jake's notebook. Those words, fake alert, Eng building, chaos, burned in my mind. My brother, my hero, was part of something awful. Liam was dead because of a prank Jake helped plan. I felt sick, betrayed, like I didn't know him anymore. I had to confront him. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I drove to his apartment, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My heart pounded. I was terrified, but I needed the truth. When I got there, I heard voices inside. Jake was arguing with someone. I stood outside his door, frozen, my ear pressed against the wood. My pulse raced so loud I thought they'd hear it. It wasn't supposed to go like that, Jake snapped, his voice sharp. We just wanted to mess with people, not this. The other voice, low and angry, belonged to Ethan. You knew the risks, man. Don't act like you didn't. My blood ran cold. They were talking about the shooting, about Liam. It was a prank, just like the notebook said. A stupid, reckless joke that spiraled out of control. I couldn't take it anymore. I pushed the door open. Jake and Ethan froze, their eyes wide. Jake's face went pale. Emma, what the hell are you doing here? He stammered. I didn't hold back. I heard you, Jake. I know what you did. My voice shook, tears stinging my eyes. Ethan tried to slip out, but I blocked the door. Don't you dare leave, I snapped. You both owe me answers. Liam's dead because of you. Jake's shoulders slumped. He looked like a cornered animal. Ethan just smirked, like it was no big deal. Jake started talking, his voice low, shaky. It was just a prank, Emma. We didn't mean for anyone to get hurt. He explained how they'd sent a fake alert to the campus system, claiming an active shooter. They thought it'd cause a little chaos, something to laugh about later. But a security guard, thinking it was real, fired his gun. The panic spread, and Liam didn't make it. Jake's eyes were wet, but I didn't care. You knew it was dangerous, I yelled. How could you be so stupid? He kept saying, we didn't think it'd go that far. But it did, and Liam paid the price. I felt like I was looking at a stranger. Jake was the guy who'd taught me how to ride a bike, who'd stayed up late helping me study. He was supposed to be the good one, the one who did the right thing. But this was reckless, cruel. "You're not the brother I knew," I said, my voice breaking. He reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't, Jake. Just don't." Ethan rolled his eyes, muttering something about me overreacting. I wanted to scream at him, but I couldn't. My chest was tight, my heart shattered. I left, slamming the door behind me. My mind was a mess. Jake's words kept replaying. We didn't think it'd go that far, but it didn't matter. Liam was gone. A family was broken, and my brother was to blame. I sat in my car, tears streaming down my face. I didn't know what to do next. Part of me wanted to protect Jake, to keep this secret. He was my brother. But Liam's face flashed in my mind, his terrified eyes as he collapsed. I couldn't let this go. I had to do something, even if it tore us apart. My hands shook as I gripped my phone, wondering if I could really turn him in. I couldn't think straight after leaving Jake's apartment. My heart felt like it was being ripped apart. Jake, my brother, my protector, had helped plan a prank that killed Liam. His words echoed in my head. We didn't think it'd go that far, but it did. Liam was gone. A family was grieving, and Jake was part of it. I sat in my dorm, staring at the ceiling, torn. I loved Jake. He was my brother, but what he did was wrong. So wrong. For days, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Liam's face, his body crumpling to the floor. I saw Jake's notebook, the words, "fake alert, chaos." My stomach churned. I wanted to protect Jake, to keep this secret and save him. But then I thought of Liam's parents, how they deserved to know the truth. I felt trapped, like no choice was right. If I stayed quiet, I'd be complicit. If I spoke up, I'd lose my brother, maybe my whole family. I tried talking to Jake one last time. I went to his place, my hands shaking. He looked tired, eyes red, like he hadn't slept either. "Jake, we need to talk," I said, my voice barely steady. He sighed, rubbing his face. "Emma, please, don't make this harder." I snapped. "Harder? Liam's dead, Jake." He flinched, but didn't argue. He knew. I begged him to come clean, to go to the police himself. He shook his head. "I can't. It'll ruin everything." That was it. I knew what I had to do. It took every ounce of strength to walk into the campus police station. My legs felt like jelly. I told them everything. The notebook, the prank, Jake's confession. The officer's face was grim as he took notes. I felt like I was betraying Jake, like I was tearing my own heart out. But I kept seeing Liam, alone, scared, dying. I couldn't let that go unanswered. When I left the station, I sat in my car and cried until my chest hurt. The fallout was brutal. Jake and his group, including Ethan, were expelled from the University of Colorado. The police investigated further, and some faced criminal charges. The campus buzzed with the scandal. Whispers followed me everywhere. "That's the girl who turned her brother in," I'd hear. My parents were furious. Mom called, screaming, "How could you do this to Jake? He's your brother." Dad wouldn't even talk to me. They said I'd ruined his life, that I should have kept quiet. I tried to explain, but they wouldn't listen. It felt like I'd lost my whole family. I walked around campus like a ghost. Friends stopped texting. Classmates avoided me. I'd catch Jake's friends glaring, like I was the villain. I kept telling myself I did the right thing. Liam's family deserved justice, but it didn't ease the ache. Jake was gone from my life, expelled, facing charges. I didn't know if he'd ever forgive me. I didn't know if I'd forgive myself. The weight of it all pressed down, suffocating. I loved Jake, but I couldn't let him walk away from what he'd done, even if it meant losing everything. After turning Jake in, my life unraveled. The University of Colorado campus felt like a minefield. Everywhere I went, eyes followed me. Whispers trailed behind. "That's the girl who snitched on her brother," they'd say. I kept my head down, focusing on my classes, but it was hard. My grades slipped. I couldn't concentrate. Liam's face still haunted me. His terrified eyes burned into my memory. And Jake? He was gone, expelled, facing charges. I hadn't seen him since that last talk. My family was a wreck. Mom and Dad barely spoke to me. When they did, it was cold, sharp. "You destroyed Jake's future," Mom said once, her voice like ice. I tried explaining. "Liam died, Mom. Jake was part of it," but she hung up. Dad didn't even try to understand. They blamed me, like I was the one who'd planned the prank. I felt like an outcast in my own family, alone. I'd always been close with Jake, sharing secrets, laughing over stupid things. Now he was a stranger. I didn't know if he hated me, but I was too scared to find out. On campus, it wasn't much better. Friends drifted away. Sarah, my roommate, was kind, but even she tiptoed around me. Jake's friends shot me glares in the dining hall. I heard rumors they called me a traitor. I tried to ignore it, to tell myself I'd done the right thing. Liam's family deserved justice, but the guilt was crushing. Had I ruined Jake's life? Was I the bad guy? I'd lie awake at night, replaying everything, wondering if I could have handled it differently. Maybe talked Jake into turning himself in, maybe kept quiet. But deep down, I knew silence wasn't an option. I threw myself into school, trying to move forward, but the weight of it all clung to me. Every time I passed the engineering building, my chest tightened. I could still hear the gunshot, see Liam collapse. I felt like I was carrying the whole mess on my shoulders. People acted like I was the one who'd caused it, not Jake. It wasn't fair, but I didn't know how to fight it. I just kept going, one day at a time, hoping the pain would fade. Then, almost a year later, Mom called. I braced myself. Her voice was raw, angry. "Jake's been sentenced, Emma. 4 years in prison, because of you." My heart sank. 4 years. I hadn't known. I'd heard nothing since he was expelled. "If you'd kept your mouth shut, he'd be free," she spat. I couldn't speak. My throat closed up. I hung up, tears burning my eyes. I sat on my dorm floor, shaking. Jake was in prison, my brother, and Mom blamed me. I wanted to scream, to tell her it wasn't my fault. Jake made the choice. He planned the prank, but her words cut deep. I'm still trying to process it. I know I did the right thing for Liam, for his family, but it cost me everything. My brother won't speak to me. My parents can't look at me. I'm alone, carrying this guilt, this pain. I keep hoping time will heal it, that my family will understand why I had to do it. But right now, it feels impossible. I'm just trying to survive, one day at a time, wondering if I'll ever feel whole again.